welcome to News Extra, and this is National Fire Prevention Week, and I have Scottsbluff Fire Marshal Anthony Murphy with me today. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of things for people to consider during Fire Prevention Week. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the history of Fire Prevention Week.
Absolutely. So Fire Prevention Week was actually the President of the U.S. commissioned Fire Prevention Week as a result of the events of the Great Chicago Fire. Great Chicago Fire happened in 1871 on this week, October 9th. Actually started on the 8th in Miss O'Leary's barn.
There's some discussion whether or not that was actually the case, but okay.
We know that's where it started.
That is what we've been told. Now, whether it was from a cow kicking over a lantern is another issue.
Correct. We don't know the answer to that one, but also at the same time was the Great Peshtigo Fire, which is largely forgotten. That burned over 1.2 million acres and over 1,500 fatalities.
Wow.
Whereas the Great Chicago Fire was around 250 people. However, it created a situation where there was over 100,000 homeless. It burned over 17,000 structures. So just a huge conflagration that we want to prevent from ever happening again.
And of course, one of the ways that you do that is to be prepared.
Absolutely.
First and foremost with escape plans, whether it's at home or work.
Absolutely. We like to encourage every family out there to create a home escape plan with their kids. Go through, draw a little floor plan on some graph paper and point out with your kids the two ways out of every room. That way, if for some reason you're not able to help your kids, they still know the two ways to get out of their room and make it to a safe place. Encouraging those fire drills, just like you have in schools and hotels and other businesses, do that at home as well. Practice using those ways out, and where you're going to meet up outside of the home, crawl low to stay below the smoke, all those typical prevention messages we try to promote.
Mm-hmm. Be aware to maybe touch the door to see if there's heat behind it, as opposed to grabbing that handle. And
absolutely, using the back of your hand to feel the temperature of the door. If it's cool, crack it open, look out. If there's smoke, you might want to find another way out.
Yeah, and of course, if you happen to have a second story, second level in your home or business, having ways to use those windows, escape ladders, specifically to be able to get out, to have that second way to get out.
Absolutely.
And of course, one of the key things, even though we no longer do the daylight savings time, it's farther back into November now, but you do want to consider smoke alarms, obviously.
Absolutely. We want to encourage everybody to be testing their smoke alarms at least once a month. Push the button. Use that as part of your drill, if I could talk.
Sure.
And change those batteries at least twice a year, or when it's beeping at you that there's a low battery.
Now, you said you've been doing a little bit of work on some statistics involving smoke alarms. Tell us a little bit about what you found.
Well, you see statistics out there of smoke alarms being able to increase your chances of surviving a fire by 50% or 80%. I wanted to see what that meant for us locally, so I started doing some research, and it's not complete yet. I've gone as far back as 2002 for the city of Scottsbluff, and we have never had a fire fatality in a home that had working smoke alarms. And conversely, every fire fatality that we've had, the home was either absent of a smoke alarm, or the batteries were removed or dead.
Oh, wow. So the importance of smoke alarms in the case of a fire borne out definitely by those statistics. There's more things to consider during this National Fire Prevention Week, and we'll be back on News Extra in just a moment to tell you about that. Welcome back, everyone, to News Extra, and I have City of Scottsbluff Fire Marshal Anthony Murphy with me. We're talking National Fire Prevention Week, which is going on all week, and of course, October, one of the times when fire prevention tends to be a hot topic, so to speak, in schools, homes, businesses. We've been talking about having an escape plan, practicing that plan, the importance of smoke detectors, smoke alarms. There are some other things that people need to consider when it comes to helping reduce the possibility of fires in the home when it comes to heating and cooking, things like that, correct?
Absolutely. A lot of what we've been talking about is how to actually respond when it does happen, but I don't want to underemphasize preventing it from happening in the first place. So we're seeing the first cold snap of the year, and and folks are starting to get out those space heaters or fire up their fireplaces and furnaces and all that type of heating equipment. And it's very easy to overlook the maintenance and cleaning of any of those devices. So wanting to remind folks, prevent it from ever happening to begin with. Keeping that clear space around space heaters, making sure they're not getting tipped over, avoiding using extension cords to run those. Having your chimney inspected. That gets
definitely
overlooked all the time, and wanting to make sure that those are properly maintained and properly cleaned.
And of course, the other thing that goes along with that, especially if you do have a wood-burning stove or use a fireplace frequently, carbon monoxide detectors, also very important to throw in there safety-wise.
Absolutely.
Even though they're not specifically fire-related. And then when it comes to cooking, we're going to be probably doing a lot more cooking indoors now that it's, put the grill away outside and start doing your cooking inside. Be cognizant of proper techniques.
Absolutely. Thanksgiving's right around the corner, and that's one of the biggest fire days of the year as far as structure fires is the cooking and perhaps more specifically unattended cooking. Put food on the stove or in the oven and go shopping or doing whatever it is you're doing. And that's the number one cause of home fires anyway is cooking related. So
yeah, and now there are some of these home security systems that are out there that do have some detectors that can help with those things, correct?
Absolutely. Even smoke alarms are becoming more smart now. You have Wi-Fi connected ones that can send you a text or message and let you know something's going on if you're not paying attention to it.
And if you happen to have a home that's out in the country or perhaps in the hills, in the Wildcat Hills, the Pine Ridge, a place that's potentially could see wildfire, there are things that people need to think about that way as well.
Absolutely. The clear space around your home, we call it defensible space, making sure that if that wildfire does happen, that you've got a space around your home that's limited of combustibles, and then just like we're talking, being prepared for if it does happen, having those kits ready to go with clothing and just a go bag ready to go, so you can get out of there and make sure that fire crews can do their job without having to worry about your safety as well.
Sure. So is there a one-stop shop where people can go for information online perhaps on things they can do during this fire prevention week?
Absolutely. Go check out the NFPA's website. Sparky.org is another great one for kids and educators. There's a lot of great information there too on Sparky.org that you can bring to your classrooms, bring to your daycares, your church groups, any of that kind of thing as well.
Of course, fire prevention and safety is something you should think about really kind of at least once a day on a daily basis as you go about your day. But this week, we're really putting the emphasis to it, talking about all kinds of different things that you can and should do to make sure that you can either prevent fires or if they do happen to break out, you are prepared. Anthony, thank you very much for joining us on News Extra today.
Thank you very much for having me.